Well, hello, everybody. Come on in, grab yourself something to drink, grab yourself something to eat. We went grocery shopping, so there's plenty of food out there. Have a seat, sit down at the table, rest in the living room, do whatever. What a week. Anyhow, I got a few things to show. Um, I did start working on something else. My blanket's not done. It's at the bottom of. So I was on a couple of lives, one for myself and one for Michelle, and people wanted to see some yarn. So I've got yarn sitting everywhere, okay? So I I had my blanket sitting on top of this box of yarn. And to get to the yarn, I had to pull it out from underneath it. Well, when I did, my blanket sunk. So it's in the bottom of this big box of yarn. I tell you. It's just like one thing after the other. But anyhow, I had to get some yarn. Go figure, right? I had to get some yarn. But I actually did. So when I bought the yarn for the countdown box, or yeah, when I bought the yarn for the countdown box coming up in December, I bought all the yarn except for the Christmas yarn. I forgot about the Christmas yarn. And it's like, it dawned on me. It's like, you didn't buy the Christmas yarn. So I had to go back and order Christmas yarn. And then when I was doing that, some things fell in my cart. They just happened to fall in. I'm telling you, they just fell in there. I don't know how they got there, but they got there. And, you know, who checks their cart before you check out? Nobody. So I checked out. And boy, let me tell you, some of the pretties, and I'm going to show you some of the pretties. And one of them is this. Look at that. And it sparkles. Look at that. Look at those colors. It's a black and a light gray and a dark gray, a light brown, a dark brown, and it's got all these sparklies in it. And it's the Herrschners Worsted Celebrate Sparkle Yarn. It's from their worsted weight collection. It's like, oh my gosh. I saw this. I had to have it. It's it's like a fall color. I had to have it. And it fell in my cart anyhow. Okay. Just it just fell in. Just like, I didn't see it. Anyway, this color is called New Year's Eve. I think that's just beautiful. That is just a beautiful color with all that sparkle. And it is 92% acrylic, 8% polyester. It is 8 ounces, 226 grams, 489 yards, 448 meters. They want you to use a size 7 knitting needle or a size I or 9 crochet hook. Machine wash and dry. And it's a 4-weight. And yes, indeed, it's a 4-weight. Is that not so pretty? I mean, I had to have it. I had to have it. And but we got it. And then there's these others that just kind of like fell in my cart too. Look at that beautiful color. This is called carmine. That is called carmine. And it is their herrschners 2-ply classic Afghan yarn. It is a 2-weight yarn. It is super soft. It's 100% acrylic. It's 5 ounces, 142 grams, 558 yards, 511 meters. They want you to use a 4 knitting needle or an E or 4 crochet hook. It's machine wash and dry. Now, you guys know I talk about this a lot. I love this yarn. I don't mind working with thin yarns, especially when they're this soft and the colors are so deep. And so, anyhow, you got a pack of 3. You got 3 of these skeins of yarn. You got 3 of these for like $8.50. It's less than that. You got 3 of them. 558 yards. You got 3. It's all the same color, but that's over 1,600 yards of yarn for $8.50 plus shipping and tax. But you guys get what I'm saying. And these are new, so I don't remember if these come out last year or if they come out this year. I don't quite remember, but they've always had their 2-ply classic yarn, but it's always been a 2-ounce skein. It's like 220 yards, somewhere around there. But then they started coming out with these 5-ounce, and it's like, what a game changer. But here's this color. Here's this color. It is this a gorgeous. And the color of this one is called Nectar. That's called Nectar. Look at this. It is not pink. But the colorway is salmon. Salmon. And then there's this color. And this color is papaya. Now, look at this. Does that not scream blanket? Now, keep in mind, it's showing pink. It's showing pink on my camera, but it's not quite a pink. It's not quite a pink. But would this not make a beautiful Afghan? I think it would. I love these colors together. And so, my mom's been after me to make her a blanket. She's like, you've not made me a blanket in a while. You've not made me a blanket in a while. When are you going to make me a blanket? I really need a blanket. It's like, Mom, you don't need a blanket. How many blankets have I made you? Well, that doesn't matter. I want a blanket. You've not made me one. Okay. It's Mama. You know, you can't win with Mama. It doesn't matter. It's just one of those, yes, ma'am, I got it. Yes, ma'am, I understand. Uh, yes, okay. So I'm making Mama a blanket. And it also is showing a representation of what this 2-weight yarn can do. And it has such stitch definition. It has such drape. It's not drapey right now because I'm not that far along, but I can show it to you guys. Come on. There you go. All right. There you go. Look at that. So my thinking is I'm going to do little blocks of color until it's done. And plus I've been, me and Kevin's been working behind the scenes. We are really working at trying to stay up on the countdown boxes because we are doing our best to have these babies ready by October 1st, which they will be. I'm not worried about that unless tragedy happens, and then I'll be a little worried. But for the time being, nope, 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 nope. I need a slip stitch. Slip stitch. Slip stitch. Come on. Thank you. You guys talk to yourself when you crochet. I do. I do. Come on. There we go. All right. I just need to slip stitch into that stitch. And 1, 2, and 3. One, two, three. And then we do this. Like so. And like so. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But what are your thoughts on these colors? Give me your honest opinion. Would you not think that this would make a beautiful blanket? People have trouble people have trouble all the time, you know, um, trying to get color. It's like, what goes good? What goes good? And we do our best. We're not perfect, but we do our best. And I had something else to show you guys, and I don't know what I've done with it. I don't. Okay, then. I guess I'll save that for the next video. And I'm trying to keep, can't even talk. I'm trying to keep content rolling. And I don't, I'm not a designer. I'm not saying I won't ever design anything, but that's not what my main, I just want to talk yarn. I want to show yarn. I want to crochet. I want to knit. And I want to talk to you guys. I don't, well, for one, I don't have time to sit and design. And honestly, I don't know how um, people do design having a full time job, plus keep up with their channel too. I have a full time job, but you could almost call it like a full time job and a partial with my job. But um, I just I will be. So last year I was designing a bag. I was designing a bag, and yes, it was for knitters. Um, my sister passed away unexpectedly, and that upturned my world. And it was, she was 53 and doing good. Then it's just like, um, I get my niece calls me and they're like, hey, mom's in the hospital. Okay, I'll be there this weekend. Well, then they're like, mom's out of the hospital. She's fine. Okay, uh, let your mom know, you know, I'll be in a couple of weeks. That way I could plan a longer stay. And the following, like Monday or Tuesday of the following week, it might have been Monday. Um, they're like, mom's in a coma. What? Don't make sense. And her niece is like, she was fine, doing fine. And my sister was living with my niece and her husband and children because they didn't want her living by herself anymore. She did have a house um, that she owned, but they didn't want her living there alone, and so she was living with my niece. And every morning they would get up. My niece would give my sister, make sure she got her medicine, make sure she got something to eat, and then she's like, "I'm going to take the kids to school." And do you need me to pick anything up on my way back home? And she's like, can you stop and get me a pop? And my niece is like, yep, no problem. I'll be back. And so she went to the kitchen and she turned around because my niece had forgot her purse. So she turned back around to go into the living room to get it. And my sister started to sit down on the couch, but she was taking off her bottom. And my niece is like, Mom, what are you doing? She's like, Well, I had to come to the bathroom. And she's like, No, Mom, this isn't the bathroom. This is the living room. Come on, let's go to the bathroom. So my niece got her to the bathroom and um, got her up. And my sister's like, I just want to lay down until you come back. So my niece says, Okay, Mom. So my niece puts her to bed and then she leaves to take the kids to school, stops, got her mom the pop that she wanted, and she had to go to the store later on that day while the kids were in school. So usually, she'll come back home and she'll make sure mom got a shower and, combed her hair and stuff, got dressed, and then they would go to the store. And well, when she'd come back home, her mom was unresponsive. So they called my mom, and so mom rushed over there, and she's like, call 911. So they came and got her, took her to the hospital. And the hospital said, there's nothing wrong with her. Okay, you're not making any sense. She's unresponsive. Well, there's nothing we can do for her. So my nephew, her son, transferred her to another hospital because they couldn't take her home the way she was. So they transferred her to another hospital. And at that point, that's when that's when my niece called and said that she was in a coma. So it's like, okay, I'm on my way. So I got everything squared away with work, got my stuff, and I headed down. And it's just, they kept running tests, and um, the one test that they needed to do, they wouldn't do because they needed an MRI, but they wouldn't do one because she had a pain pump in her back. And so they used that as an excuse to not do an MRI. And my niece is like, there's an MRI mode on the machine. They built an MRI mode in the machines. So she went home and got the book, brought it back, and they put it in MRI mode. And they were able to get an MRI. Now, this is taking a span over weeks to get all this done. And, I'm still down there. I've not been back up. And they were still fighting, trying to get stuff done. And so it's like, until they figure out what's going on, I have to go back to work. I can't. I've already been gone way longer than I was supposed to be gone. And I said, if anything changes, let me know. And so I got back home. I was here like 2 or 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And then they're like, we need you. And it's like, okay, on my way. So, here I am again. It's like, okay, telling work, hey, it's a good thing that I have worked there for so long because I had so much vacation time. So it's like, I told my boss, it's like, okay, my boss knew what was going on. So she's like, don't worry about it, just go. She's like, just put your vacation time in and go. She's like, I'll approve it. She's like, don't worry about it. And So I went down there. It's like, I get there and it's like, okay, what's going on? And they wouldn't they did the first MRI, and she was able to come away because she was asking for me. So when I got there, she was kind of coherent for a little bit, but I let everybody know, it's like, look, it's like she's asking for me for a reason. And I said, I just want everybody to realize, once she sees me and once we get done talking, that could be it. So it still gets hard. So we went to the hospital. I walk in, and I always called her mama. But I said, I hear that you were asked for me. And so she, she opened up her eyes and held out her hand. And it was like a, a peace. Like she was at peace. And she gave, she smiled. And she tried to sit up. And it's like, Vicky, you can't sit up. Like, just lay there. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here for a while. And so she laid down, and I'm sorry. Um, I had asked everybody, it's like, um, can I just have a few minutes alone with your mom, my sister? And then, yep. So everybody left, and I pulled up a chair, and I told her, hey, I thought I could do this, but I talked to her, and I said, if you need to go, go. And I told her, I said, I'll look after the kids for you. I'll make sure they're okay. And she opened her eyes, looked at me, she squeezed my hand, and she went to sleep. She was still alive, but she was back into a coma, and I was there. Um, so the first MRI, showed that she had dots all over her brain, and um, oh, it was some long titled neurologist um, come in and was explaining what the dots were, and they're like, all these dots is where her brain had died. Okay, and we were trying to get another MRI to see if there was it getting worse, was it staying the same, because this has been weeks. And so that new neurologist said that they can't make the MRI people do an MRI. If they don't want to do an MRI, they don't have to. Nobody can make them. And it's like, why not? It's their job. Well, evidently they're licensed, and if something happened to somebody during an MRI, I guess it falls on their license. And so the neurologist said, we can't make them do one. So we were at the mercy of the MRI. So we brought the main person that was over the MRI, and they're like, what can we do to get this MRI? We really need this MRI. And they're talking about all of the dangers and stuff, and we understand that, but we really need this. And they're like, well, during the MRI, she could die. Multitude of things can happen. We understand that. If we need to sign waivers, we'll sign waivers. We're not going to hold you liable if she dies. So they brought the paperwork up. Um, my mom had to sign it for the family, and then um, Justin had to sign it for the kids. So they both had to sign off saying that, we're not going to come after anybody for doing this MRI. So they did the MRI, and we waited. It was like we waited all that night, and it was almost the very next evening. So it's like it was well over 24 hours that we were waiting for somebody to give us the MRI results. And well, the neurologist come up, and she's like, "Oh, we got to get everybody together because we got to discuss what's going to happen." So we got everybody together, went into the room, and that's when they proceeded to let us know that she would not um, be coming out of the coma. She was basically brain dead at that time, and so the few parts of she was still alive. She wasn't on um, life support or anything like that. Her body was still functioning enough. There was enough left of her brain to keep her functioning on her own. But we had to sign papers, no IVs, no food, nothing to drink, and then she was placed in hospice care, and she was kept comfortable until she finally passed. And that was that. And I don't think I ever really talked too much about it. I think tonight is when I actually went full detail of most of the events that took place. And but and I have no idea why I went into that at at this time, because we're talking about yarn, and this is, I'm telling you, when you log onto this channel, you just never know. Sometimes I shake my head at myself. It's like, Russ, what are you doing? Oh, I am not sure how far I want to take this color. I really like this color, though. I'm really liking that color. Mm, mercy. Um. Well. Oh, there is something I need to tell you guys. Ooh, I probably won't be able to find it. Yes. Okay, you see this beautiful color? Okay, so this is the Karen Cloud Cake, right? Karen Cloud Cake, beautiful greens. It's called um, Poison Ivy. I think this color's been discontinued. So herrschners had a bag of 3 for $21. You got 3 of one color for $21. It's no longer on their website. So it's like, okay. I kind of figured it was going to go obsolete. And there's a few other colors that I got that is going obsolete too, I think. But that's Karen cakes. They do that, but then they're not. I should, they're not getting rid of the cloud cake line. I don't believe. Um, I th- I think they're just doing away with colors, and then they'll bring out new colors because that's typically what they do. I know that's what they do with their latte cakes. Um, I like their latte cakes. I've got a bunch of them somewhere, and one of my totes, I do have latte cakes. Trust me. Um, Yarn is just getting expensive. I'm telling you. Yarn always was an expensive hobby, but it seems like nowadays it's really, it's like, seems like the price is way up. Unless it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but before you used to um, before you used to be able to get you know, dollar deals where they'd, skeins for $1 or $2. It's like not anymore. Not anymore. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Um, like I was saying, me and Kevin, uh, I did a live. Um, I went on somebody else's live, Michelle's. Oh, come on. Tried to do a slip stitch. Trying to do a slip stitch and won't let me. Um, and we wrapped gifts for the countdown box. I got to do the so I've got 7 boxes of yarn that still need to be unboxed, but and then I've got 2 more that need to be unboxed. When I unbox them, I'm gonna video it, but I'm not gonna be able to show the video until January because the yarn that's in those 9 boxes, and these aren't small boxes. I mean, these are big boxes. The yarn that's in them is for the countdown box. So I don't want to show. Eventually, I will tell everybody what yarn will be in the countdown box. Um, but I don't want to show the colors. And the countdown box is going to be epic this year. In my opinion, it's going to be epic. Because you're going to have 31 days of yarn. So you open up a yarn every day. The 25th, which is Christmas, you'll have a special yarn to unwrap. And I believe, don't quote me, this is not set in stone yet, but I think there's 20 gifts that is going to be in the box. And then, of course, there will be candy and um, snacks. Yeah, there'll be candy and snacks. And the candy I'm not going to buy. The candy I'm buying from Hershey um, corporate. So that way, um, I'm hoping it won't be melted because I'm buying it in September. Last year, I bought it like in October. Was it October? The end of October, part of November, because last year the countdown boxes were late. Um, but this year I'm buying it earlier. And Hershey corporate ships with cold packs. So when you order from them and you're in an area, uh, they pack it with ice packs, and they do it's like a 2 or 3 day shipping. I think 2 day. I think they ship it within 2 days, and so that way it's not sitting out in the sun. So this I'm doing it this way, hoping that it won't be melted because it's a little bit cheaper buying it from corporate than it is to buy bags from the store because I have to buy so many. And I try and put a pound of candy in each box. So I'm doing 30 boxes. So I need 30 pounds. I need 30 pounds of candy. And so that's going to be expensive. But it's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm just, remember, I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you guys know, you know, some of the things that I got to go through to make these boxes happen. I think they're fun. I enjoy it. Obviously, I enjoy it, or else I wouldn't do it. It's just the prep work, getting going around to vendors and suppliers, and what deal can I get for this, and how soon can I get this, and you know, uh, quality, and it's and to be able to do these early enough, I have to buy all this stuff ahead of time. So it's not like, I get this stuff from a company and they're waiting for me to pay them. That don't work. That you don't do that. So I have to put up money up front to get all this stuff to make things happen. And putting 30 boxes together is a lot, I'll tell you. I thought 20 I thought 20 boxes was bad. Oh no. This one, 30 is tough. But like I said, it's fun. And don't don't think that I'm whining or I'm crying because I'm not. I'm just letting you guys know some of the background, what takes place in the background that people don't see. And because I love you guys. Plain and simple. And I've been rambling on almost an hour. I sat down and it's like I don't know if I'm gonna have a long video. And then up out of the blue, one, two, oh, come on. I tell you, I'd forget my mind if it wasn't attached to me. There we go. Is that better? It'll work. It'll work. Sure, it will. It'll work just fine. Well, three. I don't like that. Russ don't like that. No, he don't. No, he don't. All right. Anyhow, I am going to call it quits here. I love you guys. Leave me a comment. I'll answer if I can. I usually do. I usually answer. Email me if you need to email me. I answer them too. But yeah, I love you guys and I'll see you in my next video. Okay? Bye, everybody.